It's been a while since this happened, but I still can't understand what I experienced in that cabin. I had rented a secluded chalet in the mountains to spend a few days away from the city, away from everything. The place was simple but comfortable. A fireplace, a small kitchen, an old couch, and 3 interior doors, one leading to the bathroom, one to the main bedroom, and a third one at the end of the hallway. The owner handed me the key and gave me only one rule: never stay in the back room. I found it odd, but I didn't ask any questions. Sometimes these places store the owner's junk or have structural issues. As long as I had a place to sleep, I didn't care. The first night was peaceful. I made a simple dinner, drank some wine, and went to bed early. But on the second night, something changed. I woke up in the middle of the night with a weird feeling, like something was off. I got up to get some water, and that's when I noticed. Every door in the house was locked from the inside. The bathroom, the front door, even my own bedroom door. All of them, except for the one in the back. That door remained untouched, as if it was waiting for me to open it. A chill ran down my spine. I was certain I hadn't locked anything before going to bed. I stood there for a moment, gripping my glass of water, my breath coming out shallow. I tried the front door first, my heart hammering. Locked. The knob wouldn't budge. I moved to the bathroom, same thing. Then my bedroom door, all locked from the inside. That made no sense. I had been alone the entire time. No one could have come in and done this. The only door left was the one at the end of the hall, the one I was told to stay away from. It was slightly ajar now, a sliver of darkness peeking through the gap. I could have sworn it had been completely shut before. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe the wood had expanded with the cold. Maybe I had absent-mindedly locked the other doors before bed. Stupid mistakes. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The cabin was dead silent, except for the soft creaking of the wooden floor as I stepped closer. My hand hovered near the edge of the doorframe, but I hesitated. Something deep inside me screamed, "Don't do it." Instead, I forced myself to turn away. I went back to my room, grabbed my phone, and tried to call someone, anyone. No service. That was normal up here, but right now, it felt like a death sentence. I sat on the edge of my bed, gripping my phone even though I knew it was useless. My mind raced through explanations, but none of them made sense. If someone had locked the doors, where were they? And why would they leave only that door open? My stomach twisted at the thought of checking outside, but I forced myself to move. I grabbed the metal fireplace poker, just in case, and walked back into the hallway. The air felt heavier, like the cabin itself was pushing down on me. I tried the front door again, yanking hard. Still locked. My hands were sweating now. Then I heard it. A faint shuffling noise coming from the back room. My whole body tensed. It wasn't loud, just the soft sound of something moving, like fabric brushing against wood. Something was in there. I took a slow step back, gripping the poker tighter. My instincts screamed at me to run, but where? The cabin was sealed shut. My only choice was to face whatever was in that room or wait for morning. I didn't know which was worse. My breathing was shallow, heart pounding in my ears. And then the door creaked open just a little more. I froze, my fingers tightening around the fireplace poker. The door had moved. on its own. Just an inch, but enough for me to see more of the darkness inside. My mind scrambled for a rational explanation, maybe a draft, maybe the cabin settling, but I knew better. The air was completely still, no wind, no movement, just that terrible, suffocating silence. My throat was dry as I forced myself to take a step closer. I needed to see what was inside. Not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice. I reached out, barely touching the door, and it swung open completely. My breath hitched. The room was wrong. The walls were bare, the floor covered in a thick layer of dust, like no one had stepped inside for years. But that wasn't the worst part. In the center of the room, there was a mattress. Just an old, stained mattress on the floor, surrounded by deep scratches on the wooden planks. Long, jagged marks, as if someone or something had been clawing at the floor. And then I saw them. Footprints. Dusty, bare footprints leading from the mattress, straight to the doorway where I stood. I staggered back, my breath coming in short, panicked gasps. The footprints ended right at my feet. Like someone had been standing there, waiting, watching. I felt my stomach twist, my body screaming at me to run, but there was nowhere to go. I glanced at the front door, still locked, the windows nailed shut. My only way out was through this nightmare. I forced myself to look back into the room, every nerve in my body on edge. That's when I saw it. The mattress shifted. Not much, just a tiny, almost imperceptible movement, like something underneath was breathing. A lump rose beneath the fabric, slow and deliberate. I wanted to convince myself it was a trick of the light, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. Something was under there. The air in the cabin felt thick, suffocating. My fingers twitched around the fireplace poker, but I couldn't move. I stood there frozen as the lump under the mattress began to rise higher. Whatever was beneath it was sitting up. My legs finally woke up. Without thinking, I stumbled backward, slamming the door shut and bracing myself against it. My heart pounded violently against my ribs, my breathing ragged. This wasn't possible. I'd never believed in ghosts or anything supernatural, but right now, logic felt meaningless. Behind the door, everything went quiet again, unnaturally quiet. No scratching, no movement, nothing. Just silence, as if whatever was inside had vanished completely. But that silence felt even worse. It felt like waiting, like something was holding its breath, ready to strike. I forced myself away from the door, backing down the hallway slowly, eyes never leaving it. My hands trembled as I glanced again at the front door, desperate to get out. I yanked the handle with all my strength, shaking it violently. Still nothing. It felt welded shut. The same with every window and every other door. I checked again. Every escape was sealed. I was trapped. I turned back towards the hall, terrified that the door would be open again. It wasn't, but the relief lasted only a second. On the floor, right in front of me, a new set of dusty footprints led directly from that door, straight to where I stood. My breath hitched in my throat. The footprints hadn't been there seconds ago. I would have seen them. They were fresh, clear, as if something had just crept toward me. My legs screamed at me to move, but I felt rooted to the floor. My fingers clenched around the fireplace poker so tightly they ached. The air felt heavier, thicker, like the whole cabin was pressing in on me. And then, before I could even process what was happening, I heard it. A breath, right next to my ear. Cold, slow, deliberate. I didn't think. I swung the poker wildly, hitting nothing but empty air. Spinning around, I expected to see something standing there, but I was alone. The footprints, the breath, the unbearable feeling of being watched, it was still here. I backed away, my entire body shaking, moving toward the only place I hadn't checked, the kitchen. Maybe there was a way out. A knife, something. But as soon as I turned the corner, I stopped dead in my tracks. The kitchen chairs had all been pulled away from the table, and sitting in one of them, perfectly still, facing me, was the shape of a person. I couldn't breathe. It was sitting there, a shadowy figure, completely still, facing me from across the small kitchen table. The dim light from the stove's digital clock barely outlined its form, human-shaped, but wrong. Too still, too quiet. My instincts screamed at me to run, but my body refused to move. I gripped the fireplace poker so tight my fingers felt numb. My mind scrambled for an explanation. Maybe it was a trick of the light. Maybe my panic was making me see things. But then it moved. Not much. Just a slight tilt of the head, like it was acknowledging me, like it knew I was looking. My stomach twisted violently. I wanted to scream, to make a sound, but my throat was locked up. The air in the cabin felt thick, suffocating. And then, in the silence, I heard the front door unlocking. The sharp, mechanical click echoed through the room. I had two choices: stand here and see what this thing would do next, or run. My body made the choice for me. I bolted. I sprinted toward the front door, my heartbeat hammering so hard I could barely hear anything else. My hands fumbled at the handle, yanking it open with more force than I thought possible. It gave way. I stumbled outside into the freezing night, my breath coming in sharp, panicked gasps. The cold air hit me like a slap, but I didn't stop. I didn't dare look back. I just ran. The trees blurred past me as I tore down the narrow dirt path, barely able to see in the dark. My brain screamed at me to get to my car. Just get to the damn car. When I finally saw it, sitting where I left it, I almost collapsed from relief. I yanked the door open, threw myself inside, and locked it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the key into the ignition. Please start. I twisted the key, nothing. Again, the engine clicked but wouldn't turn over. My breath fogged up the windshield as I pounded the steering wheel in frustration. That's when I felt it, the shift. The undeniable feeling that something was watching me. And then, in the reflection of the fogged-up glass, I saw it, a handprint. Slowly pressing against the outside of the window, I choked on my own breath. The handprint was too large. The fingers were long, almost unnatural, stretching across the glass in slow, deliberate pressure. My body refused to move. Every part of me screamed to start the car, to get out of there, but I was frozen, gripping the wheel so hard my knuckles went white. Then the handprint slid downward, a slow, dragging motion, as if whatever was outside was tracing its fingers along the window, feeling the barrier between us. I couldn't take it. I twisted the key one more time, and the engine roared to life. Relief hit me like a wave, but I didn't dare celebrate. Instead, I slammed my foot on the gas, kicking up gravel as the car lurched forward. My eyes flicked the rearview mirror out of instinct, and I wish I hadn't looked. The cabin door, the one I had left wide open, was shut. No sign of movement, no sign of whatever had been inside. But as my headlights cut through the darkness, I caught something just at the edge of the tree line. A figure, tall, standing perfectly still, watching me. And just before the road curved, just before I lost sight of it, it tilted its head. The exact same way it had in the kitchen. I didn't stop driving. I didn't think. I just kept my foot pressed to the gas, the road twisting and turning through the dark mountain pass. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely keep the wheel steady, but I didn't dare slow down. I kept glancing at the rearview mirror, half expecting to see something chasing after me, but the road behind me was empty, too empty, the kind of stillness that didn't feel natural. I finally reached the main road, the sight of streetlights making my chest loosen just a little. Civilization, safety, but the fear didn't leave me. Even when I pulled into a gas station miles away, even when I parked under the bright fluorescent lights, my skin still crawled. I sat there for a long time, gripping the wheel, trying to convince myself that I was okay, that it was over. But when I finally got the nerve to step out, to take a breath of air that wasn't suffocating, I saw the dust. Dusty footprints, smudged along the outside of my car, along the doors, the windows, like something had circled it, like something had been watching me the whole time. And then I saw it a single perfect handprint on the trunk, not on the outside, on the inside,